Alright, so welcome back to another video, guys, and today we're gonna take a look at a Shanling. So this is actually the first Shanling IEM that I'm gonna take a look at. So it will be interesting how this fares in that kind of price range. This around $100. So right smack with your Starfields on 10T4 as well. And from what I see, this is a single dynamic driver configuration, so maybe around that 10T4 Starfield kind of configuration. So this is your first look. Let's unbox this thing. Of course, big thanks to Yao Tiger for sending this over. Links down below for their shop. So looking at the box itself, it says ME-80. You have kind of aluminum kind of casing, Shanling as well. And you have high durable aluminum shell, 10mm dynamic nano composite driver, interchangeable 4-core OFC cable as well. And at the other side, you're getting highly durable aluminum shell, interchangeable 4-core silver plated OFC cable. And in terms of the specs, 3.5mm jack, 1.3 m cable, 16 ohm impedance, 101 dB sensitivity, and 20 to 40 kHz in terms of the frequency range. And actually, the box is a little bit bigger than your usual boxes in that kind of price range. So definitely really interesting to look at, because I did check the Shanling DAPs as well before, and I did like their overall build quality. Yeah, I think for the price that you're paying for in their DAPs is really nice, but I'm not sure how their IEM sounds like for sure. Opening it up, this is your unboxing experience, and you have the tips that's really lined up. You have the lobes itself. Actually, the lobes is not that big. It's in the small side. Kind of reminds me of the sizes of maybe the Moondrop SSR. That kind of size. And you have tips, and actually color coded as well. So you're getting different types of ear tips, which is nice, and they label it for you as well. You're getting a kind of a faux leather kind of case, and black gloss kind of design, Shanling logo. And inside you're getting your cable. The cable actually kind of reminds me of FIO cables overall. So definitely a bit different compared to your usual Chi-Fi, but still feels really good in the hand. So actually the hooks that they have is not your clear hooks. It's opaque kind of hooks, which is nice. And you have MCX connector as well. So yes, pretty good quality cable, I'd say. Bit different, but pretty good. It is the hold in the hand. So yeah, again, reminds me of my FIO FH5. So the lobes itself is made of metal, and also the metal is kind of a matte kind of finish as well. And it doesn't feel that heavy at all. So in terms of the weight, this does remind me a lot of the Blondes, the 03 to be exact. So it's kind of like this weight, or maybe the 10T3 as well. Definitely not a super heavy IEM, which can be good on the ear because it can be more comfortable to listen to. And you have a Shanling logo at the side, and you're also getting I would say a typical shape of an IEM. It doesn't have some fins, but because it's small enough, it might be comfortable to wear, because usually small IEMs are breathable on the ear. And you're getting MMCX as well. So yeah, I would say typical of any IEM in terms of the overall design. But I do like that it's metal in design and light as well, so this might be comfortable to wear on the ear. Actually, the tips as well that you have here, the default one is a bit different compared to what they put in the box. So you have the choices depending on you, if you like different sounding tips. So let's put the cables in. Alright, so now we have the cables in, and it's actually a very stable kind of fit. And I do like that you have kind of a support here for your IEM. So definitely with this, it feels a bit more sturdy in the hand, and yeah, it fits nicely and fits snugly as well. So in terms of the build quality, I don't have any major issues, but I would say in terms of the looks, it doesn't jump out at you that it's the best looking IEM. I would say it's a typical kind of look, a safe kind of look. So let's try to wear this on the ear. Alright, so now wearing it on the ear, it's actually very snug on the ear. So as I mentioned, sometimes small IEMs is similar to the stability of even bigger IEMs with fins. And it does play the part here. It's also something like that. It's very stable to wear on the ear. It also goes deep as well. So definitely that lightness on the IEM helped out in making the fit really nice on the ear. And it's quite breathable as well. So the comfort is actually pretty good with this. I can see me wearing this for a long listening session. Stability is also good as well. In terms of isolation, above average, I'd say, not the best that I've listened to. But definitely it does go inside your ear, so that is nice. And looking at the IEM itself on the ear, It's a snug kind of fit, so definitely it's not your super big IM. So definitely yes, very easy to wear on the ear. It's a kind of a safe shape as I mentioned in the unboxing. But yeah, I would say I don't have any major issues in this. This is a nicely built IM. Alright, so now let's listen to these, my first impressions, and I'm gonna give you guys a rundown in how this sounds like. Alright, now listening to some Copacabana. My first impression in these, I do like how big the soundstage is and how nice the separation is on the ear as well. So definitely for a dynamic driver type of presentation, that's the first thing that jumped on me. The soundstage is above average, and also the separation is pretty good. That's the tightness to the overall sound. So from the ear, it kind of sounds like a slight U, but a pretty balanced sound on the ear. This is not your overly bassy kind of listen. And I like how natural the sound is. But definitely there's a little bit of shimmer on top, definitely extended on top. But this is not super peaky to listen to, but definitely extended on top. So like here in Copacabana, the track feels lively, fun, engaging, musical. Let's try another track. Let's try 24K Magic, Bruno Mars. In this track, again, the bass is not that prominent in the mix, so definitely this more of a balanced sound on the ear. The vocal positioning is actually nice. It's quite prominent in the mix. So even if for a slight U, it's not that far off, it's not that recessed in the mix. And the separation is really nice on the ear as well. In terms of the bass is not the tightest that I've heard, but definitely it's in the tight side. It has quickness to the bass. It's still quite prominent in the mix. Maybe it reminds me a little bit of the Tin T4 in terms of the overall sound on the ear. And I really like the tonality here. The vocals are not shouty as well. It's still musical, but not shouty. It's not overly done. Let's try another track. Let's try I Shot the Sheriff by Eric Clapton. Yeah, in terms of the cymbals in this track, it's not the fullest body that I've heard. So there's a little bit of thinness on top in terms of the cymbals. The bass again is pretty reserved in the mix. It's not overly done. But definitely there's that tightness still in the bass. The slam is there. And again, it's more of a musical type of listen. So I would say in terms of the signature, it sounds that on the ear, it's more of a U with some brightness on top. So it's kind of a bright U type of shape on the ear. And very lively to listen to. Also on the ear, this kind of reminds me also of a multi-BA kind of presentation on the ear because it has the tightness to the bass, tightness to the overall sound. But definitely this is still, a dynamic driver type of presentation, but it just kind of reminds me of that because of the separation and the tightness in the sound. Let's try Earth, Groove, Wind, and Fire. Definitely that cymbals again in these, definitely really lively in the mix. It has that energy in the cymbals, maybe a little bit too much energy. So definitely there's that elevation on top. And again, not the fullest embodied highs that I've heard. It's lively to listen to. Again, that vocals here, it's not that shouty. It has that smoothness to the vocals. Let's try Hard Times by Paramore. Alright, so again, the highs, while it's a little bit elevated, it's not that elevated in a mix. This is not a treble focused kind of IEM. It's still pretty balanced on the ear. It's just a slight elevation on top. But here in this track, I didn't find that you have some unnatural parts of the spectrum. Maybe some Pull Me Under, Dream Theater. Actually fairly good micro detail, especially in the guitar part. And again, because of that maybe extension at the top, the guitars feels lively. It doesn't feel boxy at all. So definitely, again, musical type of listen. This is quite an enjoyable type of sound. But I would say compared to, again, other dynamic drivers that I've tried, this might be a little bit more relaxed than those. So this might be good for people who's, sensitive to fatigue. This does remind me actually of maybe my Fios in terms of the sound. That kind of sound on the ear. So even if my Fios are multi-BAs, this car reminds me of that. So not overly aggressive on the ear. So definitely some tracks, being quite a U type of shape. The vocals are a bit recessed in the mix. Like here, it's a little bit recessed on what I would like. So definitely, yes, this is not, a vocal-centric type of IEM. But definitely the fun is there. Alright, so this is actually a punch-in, guys. I did some initial measurements on the ME-80 and this is the signature that you're gonna get. So as I mentioned in my initial impressions, it's kind of similar to my findings that it's a slight U, but with some treble elevation. But actually the peaks on top is not that prominent in the mix, maybe compared to your other KZ counterparts. There's also that elevation in the 10K region, but actually not that elevated. So the elevation here is less compared to maybe your KZ counterparts. So yeah, definitely, you know, that 4K peak in this, or elevation in these, is more prominent compared to your 10K peak. So yeah, compared to maybe your ZSN Pros, is definitely a lot more, you know, bright compared to the base region. And as you can see, the base region is pretty toned down as well. You know, definitely not that big of a U type of shape on the ear. The mix is definitely recessed in the mix, but you know, not that recessed compared to the other U shapes that I have tried. So yeah, definitely on the ear is a slight U, not that big of a V U type of shape. So this is a more toned down U. So yeah, definitely really interesting in these. I haven't seen this kind of signature in, you know, other IEMs. So compared to the Tripowin TC01, so the U shape is more pronounced, the recession in the mids region is more pronounced. As you can see from the 10K peak as well, the Tripowin is definitely more elevated on top. So that gives it, again, more air frequencies with the Tripowin, which makes it a little bit more fun to listen to without more pronounced V shapes. Definitely the fun is more pronounced in the TC01. So the ME-80 is a little bit more toned down in that regard. So that's why, yeah, for me, this is something that I can still use for, you know, some mixing and mastering, compared to the T01 that is something that I will just use for, you know, some fun kind of casual listening. So yeah, definitely you know, quite a unique take on the signature. So I do like that from Shanling. They have their own thing going on. So all right, let's get back to the video. Alright, so for the Shanling ME-80, so yeah, this is the first Shanling that I have tried, and definitely it's quite interesting in that price range, because yeah, it's a bit different from, you know, what I heard usually in that kind of price range. So yeah, pretty cool in terms of the overall listen. So you know, for those kinds of people who kind of enjoys that, kind of enjoys a more you know, slightly bright, more balanced kind of sound on the ear, not overly bassy, this might be something that you can consider. So yes, for me, this can be something that I can use for maybe some mixing. You know, when I'm doing some recording, this is something I might use for that. So yeah, really interesting from Shanling. That's our first first look of the Shanling ME-80. Yeah, sometimes I'm gonna do this kind of format in some IEMs. And of course, if you learned something, leave a like and subscribe for more content like this in the future. And I'm gonna see you guys in the next zpolt review. Bye bye.